It's a big day at the University of Virginia as the lacrosse team playing in the football stadium before the spring game for the first time since 1995. Steele Stanwyck trying to get his Virginia team to bounce back off a tough loss last week. For Maryland, Grant Catalino, an offensive star, and his team looking for their first ACC win. A big ACC showdown as Virginia and Maryland will go at it here on ESPNU. Welcome to Old Spice College Lacrosse on ESPNU. We are at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, as the number 10 team in the country, the Maryland Terrapins, take on number 4 Virginia. Hi everyone and welcome to Charlottesville. I'm Rob Simmelker along with Paul Carcaterra for what promises to be an interesting game. Two teams coming in both off of losses for the first time in this rivalry since 1993. Paul, they're both going to be hungry.
And neither team playing efficient lacrosse, but make no mistake about it, 3 out of the last 4 contests decided by 1 goal. Both teams national title contenders.
For Virginia, they're going to be without one of their top offensive players today. Shamel Bratton, the star midfielder, is senior. He has been suspended by the team for disciplinary reasons and will not play today. Paul, what sort of impact do you think that will have on today's game?
Without Shamel Bratton, it changes the dynamic of this offense. He's the most explosive dodger in the game with a change of direction that's unguardable at times. Maryland will play the perimeter much differently today, but the Cavaliers have plenty of stars still left on offense, Chris Bocklet being one of them. The best inside-outside shooter in college lacrosse. Tremendous off-ball awareness and the ability to change levels with his shot. He can light up a scoreboard. He leads the Cavs in goals for a second straight season. The junior can cash in a hurry. For Maryland, successful transition lacrosse starts with its defensive midfielders who can handle the ball and create offense. The Terps possess the top offensive-minded long pole in the game in Brian Farrell, approaching double-digit points with half a season still to play. His offensive awareness is off the charts.
And Paul, we take a look at our impact players brought to you by Warrior. You mentioned Brian Farrell, one of the top long stick middies in the country, and then Ramel Bratton will have to step up today without his brother in the game.
Farrell's a game changer, and he'll be tested early and often by UVA's two-way midfielders led by Ramel Bratton, who's one of the top dual threat middies in the nation. He excels in the open field and the man-down unit. This is strength on strength today.
And we take a look at our coaches today. There is John Tillman in his first year as head coach at Maryland, his 3rd year as a head coach overall. He's a Cornell graduate from 1991. And of course, if you're a lacrosse fan, you know this man, Dom Starsia, one of the top coaches in the history of this game. He is working his way up the chart in terms of being one of the all-time winningest coaches in the history of Division I college lacrosse. He's in his 19th season here at UVA. We get set for the opening face-off. Maryland on the road wearing the red jerseys, UVA at home in white. And we'll face this thing off to get going on this ACC battle. And a quick face-off win for Maryland. They have been very solid at the face-off X all year long, and they get the first face-off of the game, and will take control here on the road. We saw Brian Farrell scoop up that loose ball from the wing, and so Maryland going to work offensively. 0-2 in the ACC so far this year, looking for their first league win.
And they've excelled at the face-off this year. Curtis Holmes doing a fabulous job, over 60%, but the wing play has been dominant as well.
That would seem to be a real advantage for Maryland coming into this game. And so the Terps looking to get off to a good start. They got off to a good start last week at home against North Carolina. Maryland went up 4-0 before surrendering 8 straight goals. First shot of the game, and a save by the outstanding Virginia goalie, Adam Gittleman.
And last weekend, down in College Park, I called that game. When you saw Maryland come out with the urgency after that first quarter, you had to think things were rolling for them and their best lacrosse was ahead of them. very difficult second quarter with that stick penalty by Ryan Young, and the wheels fell off the bus.
And Paul, as Virginia takes its first offensive possession, let's take a look at their keys for this game.
They need production out of this third attack spot. Nick O'Reilly gets the start today. You know what you're getting out of Stanwyck and Bocklet, but the emergence of this third attackman will be significant in this game and moving forward. And they need to exploit the short stick matchups. With star-studded midfield for UVA, they can break it down off the dodge. Critical that they take advantage of those short poles for Maryland.
So without Shamel Bratton in the game, we'll see a little bit of a different look at midfield for Virginia. Also seeing some new faces on the attack as well. Nick O'Reilly, number 29, a sophomore, getting the start at attack. There he is with the ball for Virginia. Lamel Bratton, number 3, playing on this top midfield line. Now a dodge move, and the first shot of the game for Virginia bounced wide. Colin Briggs taking that shot. It was backed up by Virginia.
And he's one of those water bug type midfielders for UVA. Has the ability, quick separation. It's been a breakout year for Briggs.
John Haldy, number 12, also playing on this top midfield line for Virginia. Haldy sends it down low. Briggs again, firing one wide. Nico Amato, the Maryland goaltender, got a stick on it, but the rebound is controlled by Virginia.
Now, last year, the Cavaliers beat Syracuse without Shamel Bratton. It was Lamel who really lit it up that game. 4 goals when his brother wasn't on that line, so he'll be called on early and often.
You wonder whether, knowing his brother's not out there, he's going to try to step it up offensively a little bit today. He's known as more of a two-way player than his brother, but he can score when he wants to.
I think probably top 2 or 3 two-way midfielder in all of college lacrosse.
And a shot and a score from behind the net. Number 6, Steele Stanwyck, puts UVA on top.
Leads the ACC in points. Steele Stanwyck, complete quarterback, so smooth behind the cage, ability to get teammates involved, can create his own offense as well. I love his low angle shooting ability. Stanwyck with the awareness around goal line extended.
The Cavalier goal scored by number 6.
So Steele Stanwyck, one of the 4 captains of this Virginia team, a junior from Baltimore, opens the scoring here in Charlottesville.
When you watch number 6 in white play, so smooth, calm, never seems rattled, regardless of how much pressure the opposition puts on him.
And we get a whistle on the face-off, and that call is going to go against Virginia. So Maryland will take over, down by 1. One of the things you have to wonder, Paul, after giving up those 8 straight goals and a demoralizing loss at home last week, how important is it for Maryland to get off to a good start here on the road?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, that team is certainly deflated. After beating a North Carolina team who's very young, the Terps were highly favored in that contest.
And Paul, let's take a look at the Maryland keys to this game and talk about getting off to a good start. Also, getting that blue-collar mentality back that Maryland lacrosse has been so known for over the years.
Yeah, the Terps need to get back to playing smash-mouth lacrosse and that wing play domination. I mentioned it earlier. Curtis Holmes excelling at the face-off X. Superb wing play by the Terps with guys like Jesse Bernhard and Brian Farrell. Possessions are huge against a UVA offense that can put up monster numbers.
Grant Catalino, we talked about him before the game, one of the top shooters in the game, and he fires his first shot of the game on goal. Adam Gittleman got a piece of it, and now Virginia on the quick clear, but a loss of footing on the far sideline there, puts the ball on the ground, and Maryland's going to come right back. Failed clear there by Virginia, and Maryland will get a second attempt here on this offensive side.
And last week, UNC really threw Maryland a curveball with that zone defense, and not having Travis Reed in the lineup, who's a senior, a great left-handed shooter. We might see him today in the extra man, and if Virginia runs a zone, he can really snipe the ball.
Maryland working it around midfield here. Joe Cummings, number 19 on the field, along with Jake Bernard, who has the ball. Back to Cummings. Cummings, a junior, been one of the outstanding midfielders at Maryland for a couple of years. Had some health issues, but he's healthy now and playing at full steam.
Cummings is a kid who has tremendous offensive awareness, a good shooter.
And we got another shot. That one not much on it. Bounced on goal. Gittleman easily able to scoop it up.
When you watch a kid like Cummings play, it reminds me and a lot of other coaches of a great Virginia midfielder a few years ago, Matt Posquet, the 2006 graduate and national title holder. The ability to find seams in a defense, that mid-range shooting, Cummings possesses all those qualities.
Virginia clears it into the offensive end. It was Rob Emery for Virginia getting it through midfield in the face of a pretty aggressive Maryland ride, and now the Cavaliers will go back to work on offense.
Interesting matchup right here for Maryland, 34 in red. Ryder Bolander guarding high school teammate Chris Bocklett, 10 in white.
Nice crowd on hand here at Scott Stadium. And it will just get bigger as the day goes on. The spring football game for the Virginia Cavaliers will take place about a half hour after this lacrosse game ends. Coach Dom Starja told us his guys were excited to play on the football field, and they should be excited as they get off to a good offensive start, but that shot goes wide. And it'll be Maryland coming right back through in midfield as Dan Burns clears for the Terrapins. Unsettled opportunity, a shot high, and Gittleman makes the save.
That's Catalino's spot. Normally cashes in on that right side.
And a push call goes against Maryland. Quick off the restart, right on goal. And Nico Amato comes up with it in the crease. So off that push call, Virginia tried to make something happen very quickly, but Nico Amato able to knock the ball down. Here's Amato, a big part of the Maryland clearing game. He likes to come out and pass the ball.
Good stop by Amato. After Gittleman stoned Catalino, a little transition lacrosse, end to end. Nico Amato is really putting up a superb freshman season.
Amato grabbed the job in fall ball and has not let go of it as a freshman. Coming in with the ball now is Drew Snyder. He came in off the bench. Snyder and John Hawes on this midfield line for Maryland. And now we see Catalino coming out to midfield.
Drew Snyder, familiar with this Virginia campus. His father, Chris Snyder, one of the top attackmen in UVA history, a great feeder and a passer in the 70s.
A bit of a different look here for Maryland as Catalino playing the point guard position out top. Now it comes underneath for Owen Bly, a sophomore who's had himself a very solid year in his sophomore campaign.
And it looks like Virginia's in a zone defense right now, maybe just switched back to man. But they'll mix it up a little bit, I think, throw the Terps off guard.
Here's Ryan Young, number 27. Outstanding senior attacker for these Terrapins, always a key to this Maryland offense. Young is going to feed and score. Oh, nice work by Ryan Young as he feeds it off to John Hawes, and this game's tied at 1.
Textbook feed from the senior. If you're a youngster, you play the attack position. When you operate around the X area behind the cage, always dodge with your head up. That's what Young does, spots John Hawes. right in front of that crease area, but the awareness, the feeding ability, the lax IQ of Ryan Young, you have to love the fact that the head is always up, getting teammates involved.
Time of the goal, 5 minutes, 30 seconds, first quarter. Virginia 1, Maryland 1.
So Maryland responds, and now they're going to get a quick win on the faceoff as well, as Curtis Holmes won that clean. Got it off to Brian Farrell, and now Maryland's going to get it right back off the goal. John Tillman, Maryland's head coach, talked about the importance of his team showing some resiliency out on the field. This is a senior-laden Maryland team that came into the season ranked 3rd as the season started, but they have not been able to get it done in the ACC so far. They had a loss at Duke and then a loss at home against North Carolina, and that's dropped their ranking back to 10.
And I think a lot of people thought the Terps with Young and Catalino and Reed back and all 3 starting defenders, that they were kind of a shoo-in to be one of the top teams in the country. They lost their meat and potato guys like Dean Hart, Bryn Holmes. Those players excelled for 4 years in between the lines, did all the little dirty work, so their identity has changed.
And Coach Tillman told us, as we see Grant Catalino lose his footing here, ball hits the ground. Catalino, nice recovery, gets it off to Bernhardt, who fires a shot on goal, and Gittleman sticks it aside. And now Virginia able to pick it up, a big hit on the near side. Nice ride by Maryland as they get it right back. Cummings walking in, and a shot again finds the stick of Gittleman.
That's the time you want to go to the cage if you're Cummings. The Virginia defense a little unsettled. Would have liked to have seen him shoot that ball a little bit earlier. I think he lost his angle as he continued his north-south dodge.
5 saves already for Gittleman. An outstanding start for the senior goalie, one of the top goaltenders in the country. He's playing like it early on so far. Meanwhile, Paul, this Virginia team sort of looking for a little bit of identity as well. They don't have the big names on attack that we've been used to over the years. And speaking of Dom Starsia this week, he said, we're just trying to figure out what the right fit is. He used the word efficiency a lot. They're looking for offensive efficiency. What does that mean?
Well, just hitting on all cylinders and knowing when to dodge, and the shooting as well. You look at their shooters, a lot of shooters under 30% for the Cavaliers. That's not the type of lacrosse that you want. They're leading the nation in goals per game and not playing their best lacrosse. So watch out once they start clicking.
Nice cross pass, and a shot goes high on Amato. Quick rebound, and another save by Amato, and then the rebound is scooped to him. 2 quick saves by Nico Amato. He looks sharp early on as well. Quick clear for Maryland. Unsettled chance out front, and a save by Gittleman off of the shot. And a rebound and a score. So unsettled play, and Maryland taking advantage. They finally get one past Gittleman. It's 2-1.
Well, that's deflating for a goaltender. You're standing on your head, making save after save. You talk about efficiency right here. You make the stop. You want your offense to get the ball. Barnhart right there with a rip, and then Lovejoy. You don't want to throw to the middle of the field defensively unless your goaltender is far out of that crease area, is a clean outlet. Big time mistake by 40 and White.
Ryan Young able to take advantage of Gittleman out of the crease, and so a defensive mistake or a clearing mistake there by Virginia. And Maryland has scored 2 straight goals.
Virginia 1.
On the face-off. Ground ball scooped up by Virginia. Nice play there by Bray Malthus.
And in our conversation with Coach Starsia, he loves his combo of Bocklet and Stanwyck. He thinks those 2 kids at the attack are stars, but finding that 3rd attackman, it's been musical chairs to date.
Steals Stanwyck. Lobs it out top. With the ball, this is Rob Emery. Working his way down the right alley. Now from behind the net, Stanwyck loses his footing, almost found a teammate. A flag flies. Penalty coming up. It's going to go. We get the whistle here, and we'll wait for the call.
Looks like Maryland's going to be hit with a trip. 1 minute in the box. The Maryland coaching staff erupted with that call.
Well, you don't often see a team called for a trip call like that in the offensive zone, but let's take another look here.
Number 44 of the Terrapins, Brett Schmidt, penalized.
Well, I can see why Maryland's bench did not like that. That looked a lot like incidental contact. Two players just running next to each other, and their feet got tangled up.
I would completely agree with you on there. Look at this extra man unit. Connor English, one of those third attackmen for the Cavaliers this year, getting an opportunity on the extra man. We've seen English this year, White, O'Reilly today.
30-second opportunity for Virginia. They have been very good in the man-up offense. Time, though, running down quickly on this one without a shot off. Stanwyck sending it behind the net. Now up top, and a big shot, and a save is made by Amato. Rob Emery ripped that from up top, and that's the only shot that Virginia will get out of that man-up. Quick clear by Maryland.
Emery typically puts a little more mustard on his shot. You know, from 12 to 15, you can't kind of question, are you shooting or aren't you? If you're going to shoot, you got to let it rip, especially on these top goaltenders, kids like Amato.
So back to even strength. And we're going to get a whistle. A couple of players get tied up there on the near sideline. Jake Bernhardt for Maryland, and that is the end of our first quarter. So Virginia got off to a 1-0 start. Maryland bounced back with two. Stanwyck opened the scoring, and then Adam Gittleman's been strong in pipes. But for Maryland, John Hawes has Maryland up 2-1. And after 1 quarter of play, the Maryland Terrapins a 2-1 lead on the road here in Charlottesville. And ESPN News coverage of college lacrosse will continue tomorrow afternoon with the Conaca Minolta Big City Classic. At 4 Eastern, number 6 Johns Hopkins will take on number 5 North Carolina. Then at 6:30 Eastern, it'll be the number 1 Syracuse Orange taking on number 3 Duke. Conaca Minolta Big City Classic on ESPNU Sunday. And Maryland's got a 2-1 lead, Paul, but it could be a lot bigger lead if it were not for Adam Gittleman.
Well, the senior saving his best season for last. Coach Starsia mentioned on our call this week, like another coach back there, a general on the defensive end. He's a great clearer. He has been for his whole career. He's stopping the ball now at an elite level.
6 saves already in this game through 1 quarter for Gittleman. If you're not familiar with college lacrosse, that is a lot of saves in 1 quarter as we face off this second quarter. And the ground ball picked up by Virginia. Chris LaPierre scooping it up from the wing.
You look at a kid like Gittleman, and so important that he took a huge leadership role this season. He's a captain, but with the departure of All-Americans and Ken Clausen and Ryan Nieslik, this defense had a completely different identity coming into the season. So his communication, the way that he led, was really called upon, and Coach Starsia is pleased.
Virginia looking to even this game at 2. They had a 1-0 lead. Maryland scored 2 straight, and now we are even as Virginia strikes back. Number 34, Colin Briggs, 2nd goal of the game.
When you decided to put Colin Briggs on this first midfield, now he's not the marquee guy on the midfield, so he's going to attract a short stick defender rather than being against the long pole week in and week out. I don't think there's a short stick defender in the country that can guard this kid.
Take another look if this might have been tipped a little bit on the way in. Can't tell, but Colin Briggs, 13th goal of the year.
It's the separation, that quick change of direction, the stutter step. So impressed with his ability to separate from the defense.
Second quarter. The score is tied. Virginia 2, Maryland 2.
So we got a good one here early on. Two teams that look pretty evenly matched, and now off the face-off. Loose ball on the ground. Players come in from the wings again. It's Chris LaPierre scooping it up for Virginia. 2 straight face-off wins for the Cavaliers.
You mentioned two-way midfielders. LaPierre got over 50 ground balls already this season. He'll break the century mark. That's not common for a non-face-off player, so it just tells you about his impact and his ability to scoop up loose balls, his physical play. He's all over the field. Might be their most valuable player.
Only a sophomore from Medford, New Jersey. And possession time so crucial in this game. Now Virginia has had it for the opening 2 minutes of this second quarter.
LaPierre.
And they score, so they take advantage of the 2 straight face-off wins. And that shot beat Nico Amata from just about the same spot. It's 3-2 Cavaliers.
John Haldy played a lot of attack in high school in the state of Pennsylvania, so he's real comfortable operating from that area. This is an attack dodge from one of Virginia's top offensive midfielders. When this kid has time and room, he can let it rip. A little fake roll, gets his separation. No hand pressure by the defense.
And the Cavaliers retake the lead. Virginia 3, Maryland 2.
And now a key face-off here for Maryland, and they are able to come away with it as Brian Farrell comes up with the ball and then quickly sends it down low. Ryan Young was there, but Gilman able to make the stop. So Maryland tried to convert very quickly off that face-off. I almost wonder, Paul, given the way this quarter's gone so far, if they might have been better off easing back and getting their offense set up a little bit. Now it's right back in Virginia's stick.
Well, they did have it in Farrell's hands. Brian Farrell, 37 in red. Top flight defensive midfielder when you think about his ability to carry the ball and work in transition. That was a great feed on that backside to Ryan Young. Thought Ryan Young should have changed levels a little bit more.
So back to the Virginia side of the field we go here, and the Cavaliers a feed in front that was not collected. And now we've got a battle on a ground ball. 2-on-2 behind the net, and it's scooped up by UVA. But we get a whistle, and we're going to get a timeout called by the Cavaliers. So Virginia, a strong start to this second quarter for the Cavaliers. They've scored 2 straight at home, and they'll come back with the ball right after this. Welcome back to Scott Stadium here in Charlottesville. The Virginia Cavaliers a 3-2 lead. They've scored 2 straight here in the second quarter. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world of NCAA lacrosse. And Paul, the Big City Classic tomorrow should be a great deal. 4 of the top 6 teams in the country playing up in New York.
Well, a few weeks ago, it looked like a